Hello and welcome to another episode of Visionary New Earth Leaders. Today I have a very special guest here. We're going to be talking about astrology, and I'm going to ask Ria to introduce herself in her best words, and then we're going to dive into the topic.
So hello everybody, I'm so glad to be here and be able to share my passion about shamanic astrology. So a few words about me. I'm a shamanic astrology, and my method about astrology is very different. I've been studying astrology, but I mostly remember astrology. So I am a channeler, so most of the information can start coming to me since I started working with astrology progressively with the time. I have a background with past life regression, hypnotherapy, as an energy healer, as a yoga teacher, and I've been working as a nurse also in my previous life, also for a few years. And I've been traveling a lot and always sharing whatever knowledge I had at the time. I lived in many different countries. I lived in, I think, 8 different countries. And now I'm in a new different country living. That's this 9th one. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So I'm really seeking, always, like from a very young age, seeking the truth, seeking more of the ancient knowledge. And I like a lot to travel and connect with different people and share all these things and get even more inspiration.
Oh, it sounds so wonderful. I love all of the things that you shared, and I also love the fact that you said that you remember.
Yes.
Because I think this is a big thing for visionary new earth leaders, that we can actually remember our gifts sometimes, and then we can add it to what we are doing and combine and just weave it all in. So I'd love to know more about that. How does that happen for you? Because I know how it happens for me, but how does that happen for you when you weave in?
So first of all, like, let's say I had many different types of awakenings through my path, that I wake up to deeper truths. And and all the people that are listening, I think they know there are many different layers when we start to wake up. So I think 5 years ago, I was living in Thailand, and I started seeing myself walking into the pyramids and remembering ceremonies. And back then I could not connect. I was like, no, that's not me. It's not possible. This is, let's say, too big, like, to be doing these kind of things, right? And slowly more information came. And I think past life regression helped me even to bring this information to a conscious level and process it, because it took me at least 3 years to even process the first information that I was getting. And then my guides, or my higher self, how you want to call it, just came to me, and I didn't sleep. Like, I remember it was the beginning of COVID. For 3 months I was not able to sleep. They will come, like, they will wake me up at 3, and from 3 to 8 they will be like, now it's time to training, now you have to wake up, you have been sleeping your whole life, it's time to work with the angels, it's time to wake up. So they start giving more information about what I was doing and how to even deal with spirits. They would teach me how to clean spirits from the room, how to react to an attack or whatever, all these kind of things. So they train me for everything. And progressively then, I remember I was very stuck in my life. I was stuck with my parents. I have zero money. I had no direction. And recently my parents went for holidays for 2 weeks, thank God. And the spirit straight came to me that day and it's like, just write down. So I wrote down at least a notebook like this. They gave me all the direction, what exactly I have to do. So they told me, for example, just go get a microphone, just do this, start doing these videos. So everything, my whole business is started out of spirit direction. Everything I done was because of spirit. I would not have the courage myself, and I didn't have the support of friends or family to support me in that. So they told me this, and then I started. And then even every single reading that I will do, every training, every course will always lead it, and I will follow. And even my marketing was led by spirit. They always tell me, okay, you have to post this, you have to say, literally they even do that. It's crazy. So it started like that. Yeah. And nowadays it's even more, becomes more and more intense. Let's say for a person, before even having a session, I will know exactly the messages that I have to say to the person. But also one interesting thing that I want to mention, let's say I never studied sacred geometry in this life, and I was always very attracted to it, very attracted. So I study a lot about crystals, and I always talk about sacred geometry, but from my mind, right, from intellectual. So when it came to astrology and I started reading charts, I remember the first time I would look at a chart, I would know exactly, and I would not know what aspects mean at that time. I was like really new to astrology. And the person would be like, how do you know all these details? And then I will literally Google it and would be, the same what I like when I saw, because at the beginning I was not trusting. I was like, no, this is not possible, right? Yeah, so it was very interesting, and it came, and then when I started receiving more information, and I met also other people like that, they told me, yeah, that's how in ancient times the astrologers were always channelers, and they were always channeling this information. We can read signs. That is the gift as well. We can read the signs, the geometry.
Wow.
So that I found it is fascinating, yes. And with the years, it became deeper and deeper, the understanding of the geometry of the soul of the person. That's why we study, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is also really reassuring to people listening, because some people will hear this and say, yeah, I do that already. This is fabulous. And then some people were saying, oh gosh, am I meant to trust that? You know, am I meant to follow the guides fully? Do I have the courage? Do I have the, ability? So I think it's really important to, yes, do it, because I'm the same. I get invitations, if you like, or instructions a lot of the time, and I do follow it. But I think this is an empowerment piece, isn't it, for people to, whether they are healers or coaches or starseeds or spiritually awakening, or maybe feel like they have been asleep before and now they realize they have more of a spiritual mission, etc. That is so important to do that. Let's talk about that with the support as well, because we know that it's not so fun to do it on your own.
Yes.
So what did you do then? Did you seek out other people, like your new, crowd that you could hang out, or what happened? Because I found the isolation in the beginning, I mean, this is years ago, was the hardest thing.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I had a similar path, actually. It was very weird because, as I told you, I was stuck with the house of my parents, and my guides told me, okay, you have enough money, just go somewhere and just stay there for 2 months and the next steps will appear. So I felt like the calling to go in the south of Peloponnesus in Greece, right, without knowing why I'm going there. And I couldn't find a house, and I ended up in a house on the mountain in an isolated village that I didn't have a car at the time. So I was there, and I remember the first night I was there, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? So the spirit told me I have to isolate myself for 3 months to create my business. So I stayed alone in the mountain without anybody there for 3 months, and I was working day to night. I did everything. I did my website myself, everything. And they told me that I was such a fragile with energies that I could really get influenced quickly and just quit. And it's so funny because I'm so social. I'm so social person, and I always meet people, and I didn't meet anybody at that time. I was like, how are the chances? People would turn back to me. They will not even speak. I'm like, this is crazy. Anyway, and this continued like for like 3 months and a half, and then I started meeting so many people, and then they were like, okay, now you're ready to start sharing, to start spread. And yeah, so for me it was really, really difficult in the beginning, and actually the isolation continued, because then, you know, the old patterns, like the way I used to relate with people, and the new self of me trying to create something completely out of this world, and was a lot of contrast, because people were like, what's your job? What do you do? And I would be like, yeah, I don't know if I will have money for the next month because I'm still creating something.
Sure.
Yeah,
No,
so
this is so, yeah, it's so apt. Like, it's so common, this thing as well, about feeling, how should I put it? Feeling that isolation is kind of a good thing in this case, but then at the same time feeling a bit lost because you are isolated. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Yes, I was going to say about how often when we feel isolated, we can also feel like we're not failing, but like that we are not on the right path because we have no one to actually talk to or anything. But on the other hand, what you said there about feeling like you'd get distracted easily, and if there's more people and more energies, you're not then doing the business. And this is so important. I actually wrote a post about this yesterday, that often channelers and sensitive people, we get distracted of all the energies around us, so we can't fully focus on what we're meant to be doing, and then that leads to like procrastination and to not do it. So I think this sounded perfect. This sounds fabulous. Go to the mountains. If anyone's listening and think, gosh, it's not happening, go to the mountains for 3 months. Get yourself organized, get your laptop, get the things, start working, start studying, do your thing,
Yes.
cut out all distractions if you have an opportunity to do this. I think it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's great. And also I think the first year at least that you are starting your own business, you have to dedicate a lot of time, of course. So it's always good to just withdraw yourself a little bit anyway, because I was also wondering to Spirit, I was complaining, why you isolate me like for so long? I have no friends for such a long time. And now, for example, that I start having friends and I see the distractions also, I feel okay, I will not be able to manage if I had this before. So all in alignment, in divine timing, everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we had a call on this. So in my membership, Connected Soul Club, I teach the spiritual entrepreneurs to start their businesses, and we were talking about distractions and creating a really strict schedule for yourself.
Yes.
If you don't have the opportunity to go to the mountains, right? Because not everyone can just go, can they? Depending on your family members and people, you might have children and things, like you can't just go away. So I think this schedule and being really structured is something that is so important. But we were going to talk. I decided earlier when I was looking at your notes, I was like, God, I want to talk about the moon cycles. So I would love to know more about how we can, not just as women, but as spiritual entrepreneurs, way showers, leaders of the new world, how we can use the moon cycles for our advantage in creating our business as well. Obviously, how to lead your life and how to take care of yourself, which is always number one, of course. But when we know how to do that, how can we just talk to us about the moon cycles and how it can help us, be in the best energy for ourselves, and then how that can then benefit the business, how we can build a business in the most beneficial way.
Yeah. Well, the moon is the most important thing because it's the closest planetary object to the Earth and all of our ancestors. Because when we talk about shamanic astrology, it's a very, very ancient astrology, I would say 6,000 years ago at least. So all the people will always follow the moon cycles, do ceremonies, do rituals. So they knew that when we live according to the moon, like our life is like more aligned with nature, because the moon helps us to align with the cycles of nature as well. So now when it comes to nowadays, let's say all the astrology that we know is focused with the sun sign, our zodiac. And I think this also has to do a little bit with patriarchy and matriarchy, because in the past years, all the societies were like more matriarchal. So was the moon was always the center. And in shamanic astrology, we take, for example, the moon as the most important aspect for one's personality, for example. So the moon does a circle as we are women have our menstrual cycle. So this is 28, 29 days approximately. So this is happening every month. When, for example, we want to predict something, let's say we astrologers like to do like predictions, so see the forecasting for the upcoming year, upcoming months, we always look, for example, at the planetary transits, we look at the slow planets, how these are moving. But when we want to be completely accurate about what's happening on a person's life, we have to study the moon cycles. So the moon has a cycle. Let's say we start with a new moon, which is always a beginning. So every month we have an opportunity to start completely new. Doesn't matter what's happening in your life, doesn't matter where you are. You have every month you have this opportunity. You take it or not. And this is a powerful time. So it's every month we have restart. As the cells in our body restart, everything, the planets, everything restarts. So we have the moon is the moon is the one that restarts mostly faster than other planets, of course. And then we have, let's say, the full moon, which is the peak of the moon cycle. It's like the energy is like, it's so strong. So this is the time when we heal, when we clean, when we release, when we let go of old energy. So naturally, the moon cycles help us to clean as well. This is very important to know from everything, every month that we need. And then slowly we start integrating this energy, and slowly the moon goes into completely darkness, close the circle, and then restart. So this is the two powerful, the new moon and the full moon, the most powerful. And I know that many people are really into the full moon, and they're working a lot. Like people also notice when it's a full moon, people change a little bit, but also following the new moon and the full moon every month can completely shift your life, but not just knowing how it affects your own birth chart. Because you can get so accurate exactly what is happening, for example, now in your life, what you're going through, how to use this energy. So for example, now is a full moon that is happening in 14 degrees of Scorpio, the upcoming. and it's exactly falling where I have my moon, the 14 degrees of Scorpio. So for example, this new moon for me, the full moon for me is the most important full moon of the year to clear a lot of karmic things. So if I know this in advance, I can use it, and you can clean like lifetimes in a full moon if you really know the energy and use it. So when we come to a business, for example, and actually I had few people that they quit the jobs after we had reading and they started a new business. So I recommended to work with the moon cycles. They find it very useful because you can always how to say, find this clarity of where you are, what you want to do, and also use this energy to clear every month. Because I think you also saw it in your clients, the thing that blocks the people is the energies of other people, from partners, from friends, from family, from society. This is actually so, and also the intention we create from intention. So when we use the new moon for that and the full moon to cleanse, it can be, especially if it affects your chart in a very powerful way, and you use that, it can really shift everything. And that's what the ancestors knew, and that's why they focus so much on the moon cycles for so many years. And for us women, because we are so connected with the moon, because we have also our menstrual period, we are all great manifestors in that. When we start working with the moon, we can shift our life like so quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I am very aware of the moon. I actually used to do before I went online with my business in 2018, I used to do meditation circle here locally.
Yes.
And we will always work with the moon if the time fell on the the full moon or the new moon. So I would always do this. I'm actually thinking about reintroducing it now into membership, just to say, look, hey, these are the dates for the new and full moon. Just be aware that you can clear around this the full moon, and then you can also obviously create a new intention and a new creation each new moon, because that's the idea, right? So we clear stuff out, and then we create a new intention to create something new. That's fabulous. So when it comes to your, you said something about clearing karmic cycles at the full moon, right?
But that one is in Scorpio, that's why. And Scorpio is connected with karma.
Yes, it depends on where the moon is. So let's talk about the moon in the different astrology signs, because it will have a different meaning each time, right? So I suppose people can go online and have a look when the different moon cycles are. But we have a Scorpio, and then does it go backwards? So we have a Virgo. No, Libra. Will it be Libra next time? Does it go that way, or
no? It goes the other way. Like, so we have now in Scorpio the 5th of May. Full moon. And this is actually now is an important time because we have the eclipse season. So we are on an eclipse, and there is a lunar eclipse also together with this full moon. So this full moon, for example, is super powerful.
Yes. And then the next new moon, does it go backward?
So goes to the, let's say, we don't
Sagittarius next then.
Yeah, let's say I have to check exactly where it's going to be, because it's not always
okay, so it doesn't go in order.
It goes in order, but we have to check, like, let's say, the degrees and everything.
Of course. So it goes in order, but it just
it's not really order, because, for example, the previous time we had 2 new moons in Aries. So we had a new moon in the beginning of Aries, and then, so it's not always, it doesn't go always like that.
Gotta look. Okay. So let's talk about, so Scorpio is all about hidden, emotions, and talk, because I know a bit of astrology. So tell us what this means now, this Scorpio moon.
Okay, so this full moon now in Scorpio, it's very powerful, because also we have the nodes. We have also the South Node in Scorpio, which is all about cleansing karma, old energies, and the full moon in the heart of Scorpio, in the middle degrees, like in 14 degrees of Scorpio. So this is, and also the lunar eclipse, which is also, when we have eclipses, and especially lunar eclipse, it really takes out all the shadows, all the things, all the wounds, like it's very cleansing as well.
Very cleansing.
So this full moon, for example, it's very powerful for cleansing karma, cleansing our energies, taking back our power, because Scorpio is the archetype of the magician, has to do with our power.
Yes.
And
it's almost like, I feel like the Scorpio is like the dark feminine as well. Can represent a dark feminine as well, like the seer, or not?
can be a little bit like the Lilith energy, a little bit.
Yeah, a little
Yes.
bit of Lilith energy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm thinking. Yeah, a little bit Lilith. Yeah.
Can be like, yeah.
Yeah.
People relate Scorpio with Kali energy.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Kali
power, and
energy
also
as
to
well.
cut the
Cat.
demons. And
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Yes.
yes,
I do
yes,
like this energy a lot. It's very good.
yes.
Yeah, the Kali
And
energy.
of course, then if you know exactly when this full moon falls in your chart, you will be able to use, for example, if you know it falls in the area of relationships or in the area of money, of work, you will have to, and you can use it regarding that area of your life. You can cleanse limited beliefs, you can cleanse, cut cords, anything the way you want to work with.
So it falls in the sign of Scorpio, but does it, what else did you say in the area? Is that the houses you're thinking? Or
yeah, so when we study a person's birth chart to see how this full moon will affect you, we look where these degrees fall on the chart, and also we look at the things, the ruler planets and other things to identify. But this one I think is very important because also the south node is in Scorpio and has been there like for almost like a year and a half now, and in July the nodes are changing signs. So this is our last boost to really cleanse everything now.
And when is it exactly? What date?
In July, the full moon is on the 5th of May.
Oh, wow. So soon. I mean, okay, this podcast may not even be out yet, but maybe I should just release it quickly.
Yes.
Because it would be good. But even so, it's good to look at the dates,
it's good to
going
look,
forward as well,
And when we have such an event like this with lunar eclipse, affects us a long time before and after. So we're ready like a week even before we can feel it. So it's a very strong, eclipses are the most important astrological alignments. So there were peculiar times, always the ancestors will pay attention to the eclipses.
Oh, wow. I love it so much.
Yes.
So when it comes to, for example, you were also talking about, I want to just have a little word about this because there's different types of astrology, right? So we have Vedic, Western, like Shamanic. What is it exactly that you really love doing, and what are the differences?
Yeah, I was very blessed actually to meet on my path a Shamanic astrologer. So my path started like that. This kind of type of astrology came to me, and I studied with this woman, for example, and she told me everything. And then, of course, I did my own study, and I started also remembering and connecting with ancient types of astrology. But they are very different. So, for example, Western and Vedic or human design. And the biggest difference that I see is that, for example, with human design, because a lot of people are into it nowadays, and they ask me all the time, do you do human design? I'm like, no. So I'm appreciating this knowledge, but I find it very much putting people in boxes and focusing a lot the mind, like you're like this, you're like that, where astrology is more like heart-based. And also the astrologer has to be a channeler. Like to be an astrologer, you have to be a channeler. So you have to have certain position, a good position of Jupiter on your chart. And actually with this, Vedic astrology agrees as well. They have the same principle with that. So it's very different because when we do astrology, we have some technical things, but also we have the interpretation of the astrologer, because you can have a reading with 20 different astrologers. They will tell you the core will be similar, but the way they will tell you, they can affect you very differently.
Yes.
So that's why I love about astrology, because it's like that. So now the differences. For example, most of the types of astrology are focusing on the zodiac, on the sun. So they take, this is the sun, this is your personality, this is the core of who you are. Where Shamanic astrology, for example, focuses on the journey of the soul.
Yes.
It's very different. It's like what the soul comes here to experience. What is the soul plan? What you come here to learn? This is the main focus. It's not so much about identifying, I am dynamic, I am this, I'm that. No, it's not that the focus. So for example, also we study the planetary objects in proximity to the Earth. So the moon is closer to the Earth, it's closer to our personality, because the moon is our emotions, our needs, our emotional body represents that. And then we have Mercury, for example. Mercury is the next planet that is important to how we communicate.
And is that the mental body? Would that be more like the mental body?
Yes, bravo, yes. Mercury is the mind, and then the sun is and the sun is the center of the solar system. So the sun in Shamanic astrology is considered our fuel. If the chart will be a car, will be the fuel we put in our car, how we navigate this lifetime with our prana, our prana, our energy. Sun represents that.
Well, the sun energy in itself, if you look at even in Egypt, in, you know, historic sort of, they did astrology there, didn't they? But the sun power of the sun was on its own very powerful in terms of your life force, right? Prana, isn't it? It's very much life force because it's got fire. It's you know, it keeps us alive. Yes, so it's all intertwined. So it's so interesting.
In the ancient civilizations, they will praise the sun and the moon, and especially in Egypt, because I'm here in Egypt, and I was very interested to look at the tombs of the priestess and the priestesses. So I went to Cairo to look for this information, and I saw a lot of moon photos with the moon and the cycles, and I took a lot of photos of this. So it was a lot about the moon. And also here, for example, the Muslims, they follow the Ramadan. It's all with the moon cycles. They do it the 9th moon of the year, and they follow the full cycle of the moon for the fasting. So, and of course, if you go more back, like the Bedouins, and they all follow the moon.
Yeah. So, what about the Mayans, the Maya calendar?
The Maya
calendar.
I studied a little bit of Mayan
astrology. I did a little bit as well, but not huge.
I don't think I think they have different way of interpreting. Like they don't use, for example, the time that you're born. They're just the date and the year, and from that they give you.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it's different. I cannot really talk about it because I don't really specialize.
No, of course.
I find it fascinating. Also that they're very detailed, just knowing that the day and the year, you get so much information from that.
It's so amazing.
And then I want to say about the different types. So for example, Shamanic astrology focus a lot on the life purpose. So they believe that every human has a life purpose, something that comes to learn and experience, and also every person comes with unique soul gifts. Of course, from the matrix, we are programmed to compete, to try to be all one thing. But the astrology is like everybody has a unique soul gift, and we come here to learn about it, to experience it, and to bring it up. And for example,
share and teach others.
Businesses, share. So it's all about that, really. And the way to do it is working through our shadows. So we study a lot the shadows of the archetypes that we have in our chart to access the gifts, and of course to follow the purpose. So that's very different from other types where it's all about, for example, behaviors, personality traits, and things like that.
Well, it's more psychologically based, isn't it? It's more psychologically based, and then the shamanic is more like past life, not just past life, but like the soul journey, and based on the experience and the depth of the soul. So as opposed to personality, do you know what I mean?
And also the moon is showing you in shamanic astrology, for example, where are you coming from, the tribe that you're coming from, and also let's say the constellation that you're coming. For example, if you have your constellation, you have like the last degrees of Taurus would be the Pleiadians, if you be something else. So we can also see that. And also, it was very interesting. And also we have the nodes and other things. We can have clues about the past lives and things that, because with the past lives, what is happening? We carry things like wounds and things we didn't process to really process them in this life. And sometimes we need so many lives to learn something. So it's very interesting to see this with astrology. And I think when you have something really tangible, it's easier to understand it because we are really with the Western people, we're a lot with our minds. So it helps us a little
very much.
And then the other thing that's a difference is we believe a lot in the patterns. So for example, whatever patterns were in the cosmic sky when you were born, let's say if you're born with 5 planets in retrograde, was an eclipse at this time, or you born was an intense time. So you carry this energy in you. So your life is going to be intense if you're born with this strong, and all the patterns are in the sky, there are patterns in you. So you manifest these patterns into your life from the inside out. So we also study these patterns, and we can see the cycles that the person does, because as I said, like it's the karma, so we cannot really escape from wounds and we didn't resolve. So we have to go again through the patterns and of course get out of them at some point. Yes.
I love this so much. So I'd like to do a little summary on this, because I love the fact how you said how when somebody's born, it's like taking a photograph of the sky in that exact moment, and that person in that exact place on planet Earth with the exact circumstances. Because I mean, I'm like you, I love looking at different things. Like human design, I understand my human design. I use it more for business than for my personal growth sort of thing.
Yes.
And it kind of works. And then obviously the soul contract is the same. It's so interesting. Like with the soul contract, where the person is born at a specific time, but this is through the sound of a name instead. So the soul chooses this life experience, and we have so many different tools, luckily, that we can discover more about the depth of the soul. So I love this shamanic approach with because I'm very deep like that myself. I love the shamanic approach so much. And I just want to say to listeners here as well that, I mean, of course, I would love you to go and see Ria for your astrology knowledge and readings, perhaps. But also, I really recommend that using the different tools and learning so much about yourself and dive in and be curious will help you so much to find more of your soul purpose, feel more in your body about who you really are and where you came to do sort of thing this lifetime. So you don't feel like your life is a random experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's there's solidity and there's like weight to why you're here. So I really recommend that. So whether you get a reading from Ria or you have soul contract reading with myself, or like go and look at the human design and gene keys and all these things, I think it's amazing that these tools are available. So I would like to say that, recommend everyone dive in. But also, Ria, before we finish, can you maybe like a couple of sentences of wisdom? If the whole world was listening, what do you think they need to know about themselves?
Oh. What they need to know about themselves, huh?
Or just what is it you want to share that you think everyone should know?
That this is just a journey. Don't take it so seriously.
Sure.
Yes, it's just a journey. Just be playful. Enjoy every moment. It's nothing serious. Nothing you have to take so serious.
It's
Your
joy,
work,
isn't it?
your relationships. Just enjoy.
Yeah,
Just
enjoy.
take
I
it
love that
easy.
so much.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Keep it simple. And I've decided I'm going to release this episode before the 5th of May because I think it's really important for people to understand this, and I wouldn't want people to miss the opportunity to cleanse. So also, why don't you share your details a little bit? They will also be in the show notes, but where they can find you. And in particular, if they want to know more about this, the 5th of May, which is the next full moon in Scorpio.
Yes, so I can send you, for example, the links or something, right?
Oh no, you just tell where do they best find you? Is it Instagram or?
So the best way to find me is on Instagram or Facebook. Everywhere I have the same name, so it's called The Cosmic Guidance.
Yeah.
So all together, and thecosmicguidance.com is my website.
Lovely.
Same for Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Oh yeah, you do YouTube as well.
YouTube,
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you soon in the next episode.
Thank you so much. Thank you.